It's the Raw after TLC. Asuka's in the house, and Raw is under siege right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes. I just really want a mask right now. And a fancy coat.
She is all color, flash and fury. I call her the murder fly.
Oh, I love it. Because she's got the Technicolor nightmare coat going on.
Yes.
So.
Go Team Venture.
Yes, welcome to AfterBuzz TV's wrestling coverage for the Raw after TLC. I'm your host for tonight, Markeia McCarty, and to my left I have two very lovely and knowledgeable gentlemen.
Why, thank you.
Starting with Mr. Marc Warzecha.
It is a pleasure to be back on the show with you guys today. And hey, I'm here, but I'm on edge because you don't know where the SmackDown crew could be headed next.
Right?
Anything could be under siege, you guys.
Yeah.
Man, we better bar the door.
Yeah.
Exactly. Christian invited me on the show tomorrow.
That is
and now I'm
trap.
wondering what's going to happen.
That's right.
Clear trap.
It's a trap.
That's right. You better be careful on that SmackDown After show tomorrow.
I know. Who knows what's going to happen, but you know what? I'm prepared. I'm
Good.
ready. I've
Yeah.
got my inner demon inside just ready to come out. By that, I mean I have a lot of like Halloween face paint.
Yeah, sure.
That I
Yeah.
So does
And
Finn Balor.
a shiv
Break out
in your
real quick.
boot. I had a shiv right in the boot.
and the man that knows how to hide a weapon in every part of your body.
and-
Hobo.
And food. I know how to walk out with an entire Thanksgiving meal tucked into my coat, pants, shirt. I've gotten very good at that. You know, as long as you like body temperature, warm food, then it's kind of a boon for you.
Yum.
98.7 degrees is my favorite temperature to eat all of my food.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't knock it until you've tried it.
That's right. Yeah. Slow cooking. Yeah.
Okay, well, Raw tonight was in Green Bay, Wisconsin, you know, home of the Green Bay Packers.
And Ken
apparently-
Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy.
Yes.
Thank
Don't forget
you.
Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you, Mark, and Mr. Kennedy. And, of course, and they were also in attendance, apparently. the
Yeah.
Green Bay Packers. I do not follow sports beyond wrestling, so I'm taking
I'm right
both of
there.
your words for
First
that.
of all, thank you for calling wrestling a sport.
I consider it a sport.
Thank you.
I also
Thank
consider
you.
it stunt cosplay, so you might not want me to.
Ah,
you might not want me to
interesting.
argue wrestling
Interesting.
sake. And then for those that are wondering, Johnny is at a memorial today. So Ralphie Mays, who was a very huge pillar of the improv community, just everywhere, but especially in Los Angeles. So yeah, he's with friends and family, and thoughts and prayers to all of them, you know, for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
was
a big loss to comedy, to stand-up
Huge.
comedy, and I know they're having a service for him at the
I mean,
improv.
literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
I think he would have appreciated
I
it.
think
Yes,
so
he
too,
would have
yeah.
liked that joke.
Yeah.
He would have liked that
joke.
joke.
Yeah. But starting with Raw, so we have Kurt Angle. He starts. We have an in-ring segment with him, and then of course, if you watch TLC, you know that, or if you didn't, consider yourself informed. Kurt Angle joined the Shield for TLC, and can we say he beat that butt?
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
he beat that butt.
Triumphant return in the Shield gear.
Yeah.
To many, he looked like the Shield's dad. Just happy to be there, kind of smiling, the happiest member of Shield there ever was.
Yeah, I mean, he came out to chants of "You deserve it." It was very nice. I mean, I wondered if he was going to show up like with the medal and a singlet, or if there was going to be a flak jacket, or maybe a flak jacket with the American flag on it. I like what the choice that they
A
went.
lot of people online were kind of like half joking. He should come out in the Shield gear with the Shield, and I don't know how many people actually thought that was going to happen. I didn't, but there he was, and I thought it was kind of cool actually.
I think it was the only real choice, or else he would have just looked out of place.
Yeah.
Like, this made it feel like he was actually a part of the Shield, and I guess he wrestled like he was a part of the Shield. He really, outside of that match, he was swinging chairs, swinging at anything that moved. He was an animal last night.
Yeah.
And then at the end, just throwing everybody through everything. He was like the Kurt Angle of old. The intensity.
Yeah.
Really chiming hard.
everybody got a taste of that Kurt Angle Fury.
Yeah,
and the Fury was good.
Yeah.
Yes. So Kurt Angle lays it down that we are on the road to Survivor Series. So along with that, he says, yes, we have our match lineups. We're going to have the Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss versus the SmackDown Women's Champion Natalya. We have the Intercontinental Champion The Miz versus the U.S. Champ Baron Corbin. Do you know, once upon a time, I couldn't remember who he was. If
Baron Corbin?
Yeah, I couldn't remember who he was.
That makes sense.
No, if Dolph Ziggler wasn't like battling him, because they just kind of went with that forever.
That
Like the
did
two of
last a
them.
long time. I mean, I always liked Baron Corbin because he was always opposed to every wrestler that wrestled outside of WWE. He always looked down on them. That's always been his thing. He's got this chip on his shoulder. He hates anybody who thinks that they're better than him because they wrestled before they got to WWE. So he really goes out of his way to take on anybody who has that sort of background to them.
Okay, that is good to know. We also have the Raw Tag Team Champs, The Shield. The Shield, basically.
Sure, I think we can call them that now.
Versus the tag champs, the Usos. And then we have Universal Champ Brock Lesnar versus WWE Champion Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes.
Really?
I'm like, yes.
What?
Because I think Brock is going to eat him.
Oh,
And
okay.
I like it when Brock just, cannibalizes people.
Okay, if that's what happens, then great. Then I like it too.
I agree with you, but after tonight, I have a different kind of feeling.
Ooh.
After that promo.
Okay.
Well, not even after the promo. After the show went off, after Raw went off the air tonight, I have a different feeling.
Interesting. Okay, I can't wait to hear about that because I have a different feeling after that Heyman promo.
Ooh.
That made me think some things too.
I like this. I like the hunches are like coming out.
You know what match I'm most interested in out of those four is Rollins and Ambrose against the Usos. I think that's gonna be really fun.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, with the Usos as they are now, they're a pretty hot team on SmackDown right now.
yeah.
They've completely reinvented themselves. Ambrose and Rollins have a lot of steam right now. I think that's gonna be a really fun match.
Yeah, I like it. And then also Kurt Angle also tells us that there's going to be 2 5-on-5 elimination matches, men's and women's. So that's happening, and we have to have captains for each of those teams, and that'll have to be established.
I'm not sure why. I don't know what they do.
Well, usually in a tag match like that, if you pin the captain, match is over.
Oh, is that what happens?
That is usually the stakes of having a captain in a tag team match. That's established in Lucha Libre. You tag the person who's leading the charge, match is over. You won. Period.
Man.
It doesn't matter if you've got so many people still on the apron. Match is over once you pin the captain.
That would be really cool if they did that on Survivor Series, in one of these Survivor Series matches. Right?
Yeah, and what does that say for the women's captain that we will get to in a second?
Spoilers.
I know, spoilers. Because, I can see her being pinned. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And then, of course, this is kind of a night of rematches. We come to expect that.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Angle cannot be in the ring by himself to bask in his glory, but yet who shows up? The Miz and Cesaro and part of the Miztourage. So it was basically the Miz at this point. And so they're going to have a tag team match right there. It's going to be Miz in the Bar versus Ambrolins. Ambrolins.
Correct.
And you would think Kurt Angle, but no, we're going to have AJ Styles.
Big surprise.
AJ Styles.
Big surprise.
There we go.
Yep.
He stayed over, and now we have him on Raw.
Yep.
And that takes us into our first match for Raw. So, I mean, was that the first one? Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
that was
and
the
a
first
long
one.
match,
I have a
too.
lot of notes here. Yeah.
A long match.
Yeah, this
For
was
as long as
really
the matches
long.
they were in last night, this match went almost as long.
Yeah.
These guys have got to be exhausted.
I don't know where there's just a deep well of stamina for all of them, because oh my god.
You got to be a top athlete to be a professional wrestler. You've got to be as strong as a power lifter. You've got to have the stamina of a basketball player. You've got to hit as hard as a football player. You have to be the perfect athlete in order to be a professional wrestler. And you're really looking at 6 guys in the ring that embody that idea 100%. Yeah. These guys can go for days, and they hit as hard as anybody, and you really see the quality of what they're able to do from one night beating the hell out of each other with chairs and tables, ladders, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, to tonight where it's just it's a good old-fashioned tag team match, but it's a long match, and it's, even if you say you don't have all the weapons, it's still hard to go out there and perform and try and beat competitors the size and strength of, you know, Sheamus and Cesaro.
They're huge.
And Miz mostly stays out of it, but you have to watch your back because he's always watching yours.
He's waiting. He's just waiting for that chance to slip that knife in there.
100%.
Yeah, everybody in chat is calling AJ the SmackDown mole.
Oh!
Which, you know...
He's kind of a double agent, isn't he?
I think he was. I think he was. I mean, it's certainly it's interesting that he was, and I thought played out really nicely that he was presented as the surprise in this match, and you went, oh yeah, well he was there last night on the Raw pay-per-view, so kind of makes sense that he might be here in this match. The way that ended up playing out throughout the show, I thought was effective. Where we end up at the end with AJ.
Yeah.
And that worked really nicely.
Yeah, I mean, the match itself, I mean, I felt very satisfied with this match. I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
then also with that, with like what you're talking with the ending, I mean, it ends with AJ Styles doing phenomenal forearm against Cesaro, and he gets the win. But I guess it ends, but then it also kind of doesn't end there because, of course, Kane has something to say about all of this, and he just comes out and he basically stomps on everybody. So it ends with Kane.
Yeah.
Kane running for mayor, everybody. Vote for Kane.
Yeah, well, no, it's
Knox
the
County,
other guy
Tennessee.
with the short hair. Once he takes that human scalp off and that mask he's fashioned out of dried human flesh, he will be your mayor. But remember, if you get a parking ticket, pretty steep, the penalty.
Which does bring us to Kane with his in-ring segment. And it's basically that he considered Strowman to be, what was it, 360-pound bag of... 380. 380 pounds of trash, basically.
Yeah.
And that's why he ended up where he did end up
They've
during
killed
TLC.
Braun Strowman again.
Again.
Braun Strowman has been killed multiple times since he's debuted in WWE.
Yeah, it's like, how many potions does this guy have to be able to come back? I mean, how many revive tacos does it take? I assume he's in a South Park game.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah,
that's
no,
what I'm
clearly.
playing right now.
Clearly.
Yeah, but Kane says that he will be Raw's only monster. And with Strowman gone, Kane wants competition. So, and then whose music hits but Finn Balor?
Place explodes.
It does.
Oh, man, I wasn't expecting it to be Balor. Happy it was, though.
Yeah, I mean, well, this man has no problem going up against demons, you know, both confronting his own and other people's.
Yes.
So yeah, we have Kane versus Finn Balor, and that
Demon versus not demon, and this time Kane is the demon.
there you go. We're seeing a theme that's going on with Finn right now. He's kind of a demon buster.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess
Oh,
so.
actually, he got busted in this match.
Oh, did he? Series of just stompings. A lot of beat that buttings happened. But basically, after the third choke slam, Finn just kind of had to let it happen. And Kane does end up winning.
Yeah, that surprised me, actually, especially after the match Baylor had with AJ and won that match last night, and it was kind of epic. Then to turn around and lose a 7-minute match or whatever to Kane, who at this point is 50 years old and sort of a nostalgia act, I was shocked by that.
I was somewhat less shocked. He gave his all against AJ Styles last night. So for him to come to the arena tonight feeling a little battered and a little tired, he thought he could just run around Kane. And he did a good job of doing just that. He was able to really use his speed as an advantage, but Kane is just too big. The size difference is too apparent. And Kane being a little bit fresher and a little bit bigger, well, more than a little bit bigger,
More than a
is
little
able to really sort of close the gap on Balor. And going against Braun, I think he feels he has to look as strong as possible to put Braun on notice. If he were to lose to a guy like Finn Balor, Braun Strowman could sit back and go, I'm not going to fight you. You lost to a guy who's you know, 5'8" and 180 pounds. I'm not gonna fight you. You can't beat him.
Yeah.
Why do you think you can beat me? I have 200 pounds, 300 pounds on him.
Because he weighs 50 pounds or
Right.
80 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I kind of like the idea of that Strowman like sitting back, scoffing, and peeling off a banana peel,
yeah, no, I
right.
imagine he'll come back and
Like a McDonald's
he'll be
wrapper.
Man-Thing.
shaking dirt out of
Yeah, he'll just look
out of
like
his
Man
beard.
Thing. The beard will have stuff in it, and he'll Man Thing.
Yeah, there you go. So that brings us to a backstage segment where we have Shane McMahon. He's
Sure.
visiting Raw. He walks into Angle's office, and Angle's pretty proud of himself. It's like, Raw is everything. Raw is great. And Shane's basically, in Survivor Series, SmackDown won last year. So, and then Angle's like, I wasn't GM last year. So, was that a little shade that was thrown right there
I
towards?
think it was a fact.
It
I don't
was-
think
it
it
was
was
a
trying to
fact.
be shaved. It was just like, there's new management here. This
Yeah.
establishment is under new management, and I think things will go a little bit differently this year. So he says.
I think this segment was so smartly done because it was sort of subtle, and WWE isn't often great at subtlety. But the way that they both played this scene was, hey, we're buddies. We're both kind of good guys. This is a light, friendly rivalry. Our wrestlers are gonna have fun. Kind of, all right. It'll just be kind of fun. They'll have a little exhibition against each other at Survivor Series. And it really was a nice. It really was nice because by the end of the show, we find out, of course, that Shane McMahon had a much more devious plan that Kurt Angle was taken totally off guard by.
No, it was Red Wedding.
It was Red Wedding.
That's what happened
Yes.
at the ending.
Yes, it was Blue
Yeah.
Wedding.
Blue Wedding.
It started out like an interdepartmental softball league. Some people were taking this way too seriously.
Yeah.
And some not seriously enough.
But I like that
Yes.
segment a lot. Also, I've just reminded that we didn't even mention that Kurt Angle called Jinder Mahal Jinder Mahal during the opening segment.
Well, he usually
You know
does
what?
that.
That's a subtle thing right there.
He
says-
clearly
he says-
never watches SmackDown. That's why they invaded. They were like, you don't even know what our champion's name is.
That's what they did backstage. Was, this is who this is. This is who this is. And they go down the line, and just everyone shakes his hand while he's under duress being held by two large men.
That is exactly how it was set up. So after this good-natured and yet slightly foreshadowing segment, we have a video package for Asuka because she's about to come out. It's everything that it needs to be, and then we have a rematch of Asuka versus Emma. So, Asuka, Asuka.
Here she is.
There she is.
I'm very interested in Hobo's thoughts on Asuka's debut because you have watched her, Hobo, hosting the NXT show here in AfterBuzz. You've watched her whole NXT run, and a lot of fans have been complaining the last couple days saying she should have come out and just squashed Emma last night, should have come out and just squashed her tonight. Do you feel like, how do you feel like her debut has gone in comparison to how her character was portrayed on NXT or how she wrestled on NXT?
This actually makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. NXT has always been sort of the secondary show to the main roster. So all of the people who have gone onto the main roster, by learning and expanding themselves on said main roster, have proven to outgrow their NXT selves. And if and when they go back to NXT, they usually have a fairly easy time in NXT. And this is where the growing pains come in, even for Asuka. Even somebody who is at the top of NXT is still having a little bit of a difficult time with somebody who is on the main roster. But this is more of an opportunity, I'd say, for Emma than it is for Asuka. Everyone knows what Asuka is capable of. Once she gets used to life on the main roster, she is going to absolutely clean house. But for Emma, this was an opportunity for her to really challenge a person, an individual who has never been defeated, who has all of this stuff coming in with her, all of the gravitas. And Emma has looked, I think, better against Asuka than she possibly ever has on the main roster before in singles competition.
Something that I really enjoy about what Asuka brings to the ring. withstanding, I mean, her presence is absolutely amazing and her skill set is fantastic. But it's like, it feels like whoever she goes up against, you feel like not only do they raise their bar to meet her, but it also feels satisfying to watch. It's like she brings out things in other competitors that I feel like normally just are, you know, buried. Like they normally don't have to come out to play. So I'm really excited to see her go up against each person in the roster. I want to see what she brings out of everybody that's there. Can you imagine her versus Sasha? Can you imagine how much fun that would be to watch, and then for both of them to be in it? I love that she's here on Raw. Raw needed her.
Yeah. It's just real competition.
Yeah, and speaking of which, go ahead and you can watch these matches on TLC, and then also with this. But Asuka does end up winning versus Emma with the Asuka lock.
Both nights,
two nights in a row.
The Asuka lock has proven to be the real defining the change in the match, and I think it shows her beating Emma with it both nights. She knows how to hit the Asuka lock from absolutely any position. She is both. She all around. She's a striker. She's really sound in her suplexes, and then submissions as well. She's an absolute triple threat, and knowing exactly how to put in that Asuka lock at the right time, she's able to do it 2 nights in a row and defeat her opponent with it on both nights. And her opponent being full aware.
Yeah,
that is the thing that is going to end this match. Is that Asuka lock? She still is able to get it in.
Yeah, it's kind of like because I love her. It's like Kairi Sane with the diving elbow. You know that diving elbow is going to come. You're going to try to work that elbow. You're going to try to keep her from the top of the ring, but it ends up happening.
Yeah,
because she makes an opportunity.
Squash you with it.
She makes her opportunity. It's fantastic. Looking forward to seeing her on NXT. I believe it's November 22nd that we'll see her. I believe so. Chat room, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that. So that we continue on. We have Alexa Bliss has an in-ring segment, and she's basically gloating that she did defeat Mickie James last night, and she's putting James in the past where she belongs. Oh, so
poor Mickie.
Yeah, but she goes on to. She has a bit of hate towards Finn and Balor because. She's like, everybody's all up in arms about them staring into each other's eyes, while I won last night. And as this is going on, Mickie James struts out in heels and DDTs her in heels.
Some serious heels.
Some serious heels. Yeah. And then, says to her, you do deserve it.
I think she meant the DDT.
Well, she definitely meant that.
I don't need to see this feud continue.
Not in this way, right? It's
not at all.
I don't like the age thing that they're.
But I like it in that it's usually the young bucks that's chasing the older, more established veteran, but now it's the other way around, where the veteran is having to chase this young cat who's got no respect at all. So I think it's a change of what we're used to usually playing out in a wrestling ring.
Yeah, but at this point, I need to see Mickie beat her. Beat her.
Beat her tonight. Huh?
I mean, like, beat her and gets that title, or something. I need something that Mickey's holding now. At
also,
this point.
she lost fair and square last night.
She did.
She lost fair and square to come out and DDT her.
I don't know if it was 100% fair.
What was not clean about it?
It was an opportunistic win. I think it was something having to do with the corner. She played her off in a certain way, grabbed her, ran her into the corner, then grabbed her and DDT'd her real quick. 1, 2, 3. So it wasn't.
Oh, hence the DDT tonight.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Turnabout being fair play. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't 100% clean. So honestly, if I think Mickey's got the real lineage to where if she wants to continue this feud, anybody in their right mind is going to go, okay, yes, but we're going to have to add a stipulation. There's going to have to be something to equalize this and make it more interesting for the fans coming up. So I don't know what that is going to be, but
Yeah,
and when the match will happen, it'll be interesting too, because at Survivor Series, Alexa's already committed to the Natalya match.
Yes, she is.
Unless
if she's still champion.
if she's still champion, yes. Unless they do a match on Raw before that, and Mickey wins that match, and maybe we'll see Mickey against Natalya at the pay-per-view.
You know what I would love, and it's probably not going to happen. I would love for Mickey to get the title off of Alexa, so she's supposed to go up against Natalya, and then let's say the night before, the Raw before, she ends up somehow losing it to Asuka, so then it's Asuka versus Natalya.
Oh.
So then everybody's like, what, this new blood's gonna come and she's the one that's going up against SmackDown? Either that, like, either they rally behind her or they're totally against her, and then that could start a new dimension.
It depends on the opportunities that Kurt Angle is willing to afford Asuka, being as new as she is.
Yeah.
A couple of wins, I don't know if that's going to create the momentum necessary for him to propel her into title opportunities. But if he feels that there's something there, he'll change it up.
Yeah, we'll see. We've definitely have time, and there's always more pay-per-views after Survivor.
There's always more pay-per-views.
Yeah, they might add some more. Who knows? But speaking of Kurt Angle, we have a backstage segment where he's talking to Bayley and the boss, and they need a captain for the Raw women's team. And Foxy bursts in, oh, I'm the perfect person for the job. Kind of a burst in, and so yeah, I mean that's basically that, and we're gonna decide who's going to be the Raw Women's Champion.
Yeah.
How we always do with the match.
With the captain. The captain.
With the captain.
She wanted rock, paper, scissors.
She did.
I mean,
that is true.
That was an option. But this is a wrestling show, so no.
Yeah. So it'd be
got to do it in the ring.
Bayley versus Sasha versus Foxy, and that'd be coming along.
Dig it.
Yeah. And so then we have an in-ring segment with Elias. Of course we do. It's Elias. He's a man with a guitar and a spotlight in the middle of a ring.
He always is.
Yes.
Three times last night, actually.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can't stop him.
You can't. He just runs out there. What are you going to do?
He's just out there.
Keeps coming back.
Yep.
Yeah, he likes to crap on the towns that they're in. And, just one of those things. There was interference on the mic, so now he's going to take out a technician later.
That wasn't even, he was wet. If you get a microphone wet, it's not gonna. You covered yourself in water, you dummy. It's not gonna. Forget it.
Yeah, but we do have Elias versus Jason Jordan. This is another rematch. It's the night of rematches. So yeah, I mean, Jason Jordan was showing well. He was holding his own. There was a lot of really good barricade action between him and Elias, but honestly, Elias is just about winning. So he smashed that guitar.
Yeah, I mean,
smashed that guitar.
He didn't exactly win.
He didn't win. He got disqualified.
A victory.
But didn't he? I mean, if you're the person that's being hit with a guitar, did you really win?
No, you didn't.
If you did.
I mean, you won, but you didn't.
But you didn't. You're a loser.
You were the guy standing.
That's right.
I walked out of here. He didn't. Who really won?
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, honestly, I can't blame Elias too much for blasting Jason Jordan with a guitar, especially after the match last night. Jason Jordan was all over him. He just out-hossed Elias every possible chance. He just showed him what he is made of, and he's made of the stuff of champions. It's a matter of time until he actually clenches a title, but, I mean, it's happening. He's an absolute dynamo.
Yeah, and Mark, I know you're not on the Jason
he's
Jordan.
A loser.
Oh, even after watching this, you're just not really.
If I was Kurt Angle, I would have come out there with a guitar and hit my kid with it. I mean, have to have this loser kid as your son when you're this Olympic gold medalist. Jeez.
He's never going to win with
couldn't
you.
Couldn't even pin Elias tonight. Loser.
Along with the night of rematches, is also the night of in-ring segments. So we do have, but this is a good one. We have Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman. And, Heyman spends his beautiful lyric whimsy as he usually does.
Heyman was getting too real in this segment. I was shocked.
Wasn't he just
I was shocked. In fact, he ran down Jinder so hard and in such a sort of quote unquote shoot way that this is what I was talking about earlier when we were talking about this. This made me think that Lesnar is not going to squash Jinder and completely destroy him at Survivor Series, that they're setting Jinder up to be at least competitive with him. I'm not saying he'll win, but have a more competitive, longer match than some of these other matches lately. If not, they're really going to make Jinder, they're really going to bury Jinder. After with these kind of promos, and then he gets squashed.
Now,
ouch.
Here's how I think this could wind up. I don't think Jinder's ready to play with somebody who's got as much power as Brock Lesnar. But that being said, I no longer believe that the SmackDown roster is going to let the champion of Raw decimate the champion of SmackDown.
Gotcha.
I think they would rather cannibalize Lesnar than allow him to make them as a whole look weak, because the roster is only as strong as its champion. He really sets the bar for the whole roster on SmackDown. And by Lesnar beating him, that says that everybody on SmackDown is absolutely the weakest thing.
Nice.
They would not allow that to happen. Nobody, I believe, would allow that to truly happen.
That makes total sense, Hobo. I think you may have just called that.
Yeah, I like that thinking a lot, because think about it. It's brand versus brand. So why would you build up anybody from the brand? You're going to tear them down as much as possible, which, you know, Heyman usually is like, oh, remember how he did with Strowman. Remember how he did with anybody before then. But yeah, that makes so much sense.
It does.
Hobo nailed it.
Well, I've been in many locker rooms, and you have enemies in your locker room. You have people you don't agree with, but if you're on the same side, that's your brother. You know, it's easy to fight with your brother, but at the end of the day, you're blood. Anybody comes in from the outside and tries to beat up your brother, no matter what your relationship is, you're gonna take out the guy who's coming in. The interloper goes, because they don't mess with your ecosystem.
Yeah, don't mess with your fam. That's your fam.
Even if you don't get along.
Yeah, but there's no battle for brand supremacy. Any brand with Lesnar is the brand. And Mahal is going to Suplex City. I mean, there we go. And of course, they accept.
Yes.
They accept that was the whole point of it. They accept that this is going to happen for Survivor Series. So, yep.
Even though I think Angle told us at the beginning it was going to happen, didn't he?
He did at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I guess it was just like, oh, he might have said that, but now we accept it.
Right.
So just so that you know, this will happen now. So we have Charlie backstage with Kalisto, and basically Kalisto's invoking his rematch rights against Enzo, who beat him very dirtily, we might say. You know, eye pokes should not be part of title matches.
It was a deep eye poke.
It was deep.
He got all the way in up to the...
That really hurt.
It was like he was going bowling with his skull.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all about familia, and Enzo's going to be getting all of it. There will be a 10-man tag team match that will be going on. Team Lucha versus the Zo Train. So we'll be looking forward.
The Zo Train.
The Zo Train.
The Zo Train.
So, and here we have Bayley versus Alicia versus Sasha Banks. This is to determine who's going to be the Raw Women's Champ.
The prestigious role of Raw Women's Captain.
I'm sorry.
Captain.
I keep on saying champ, and I mean captain.
That's right.
Captain, team captain. So
you'd have to be crazy to want to be the team captain of this team.
You kind of do.
And the crazy person won.
Yes. Alicia Fox wins. Foxy does win. Amongst the many things that happened in this match, she grabbed the timekeeper's bell, yelled, I don't want to play this game anymore, and started ringing it. She also does can we call it a Foxy to Bayley? A Foxy to Belly against Bayley?
Let's call it
Yeah,
that.
why not?
Foxy to Belly?
Who's stopping us?
Yeah. And
Nobody.
Nobody's stopping us. It's our show. And also, she ends up winning by colliding Bayley into Sasha. Sasha was trying to get back in the ring.
Other way around. Bayley was trying to get back in.
Bayley
She
was
was throwing Sasha out because Sasha had her in the bank statement.
There we go.
They hit heads. Sasha rolls out, Bayley rolls in, and it's a 1-2-3.
There you go.
That was one of the most crafty victories,
It was.
legal victories I've ever seen.
And she got out of the bank statement. That bank statement's been her Achilles heel for a very long time.
It's overexposure. That's what it is. Once you're exposed to something enough times, you learn how to get out of it.
Yeah. And of course, she is now Raw Women's captain. And then and then Mark found a tweet that Foxy sent out.
That he just sent out. It was like the meme from what is that movie? The Tom Hanks movie was on the ship. It was like the meme.
I didn't actually see the movie.
Someone in chat will tell us, but it's like the meme from that movie where the guys have taken over and say,
where he goes, "I'm the captain.
I'm the captain now.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain now." So she tweeted that out. So
pretty funny.
She looked in this match to be absolutely the dominant force. She was taking on both Bayley and Sasha. I'd say more than even Sasha and Bayley were taking on each other. She was in this like she really wanted it. I think she's as hungry now as she's been in a long time. And I think now she's starting to really make enough change for herself that she's getting somewhere. And being team captain, it's not exactly important, but it's important in someone's momentum.
yes.
You were able to beat two high-level competitors to get that. It is worth something. It's not a championship, but it's definitely something.
Captain Phillips.
Captain Phillips.
Thank you, chat.
That was it.
Thank you, chat. Captain Phillips.
So yeah, that brings us to well, it was an in-ring segment because that happens. It's an in-ring segment. Apparently Enzo has had a vocal injury, which is that's devastating for for a man with his skill set.
That's his whole gig.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had it was Gulak?
Yep.
Yeah, Gulak was reading off a script that
no, it was his PowerPoint presentation.
There we go.
He was supposed to have it last night for the pre-show, but he says that the powers that be bumped it off of the show completely. That this is in some way a conspiracy, and I'm not going to disagree with him on that. I think that PowerPoint obviously contained some very sensitive material that management did not want the public to see, and as a result, it was scrapped completely. But Enzo, being the gracious champion that he is, gave him the opportunity to make up for that tonight.
Yeah.
So he was giving his points in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the promo stuff was good, I thought. I think Gulak is entertaining. Enzo was able to talk enough to get some funny shots in there, and I like the idea that Enzo's got a squad now. A character like that should have a squad. Enzo should have a squad, and I like that too. I mean, if nothing else, since Enzo became part of 205 Live, that show and those matches have become a lot more interesting. There's more going on with those characters. It has done something to invigorate that brand. I mean, that's not saying a lot. It was a pretty dead brand or a pretty dead show before that, but still, it feels like it's got some life in it now. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely am more interested in it than I'm not saying that it wasn't interesting. It's kind of difficult to explain.
Right. Yeah.
It's just that there's already so much wrestling to watch out there than to also make time in for something else. It just wasn't really making the cut as much as I wanted it to. But now that Enzo's on it, for me personally, I'm a bit more interested.
And I think that's true kind of across the board. I think that multiple people feel that way about Enzo being on the show and being champion overall. I think the insiders are really unhappy about it, but the casual fans, they're interested. They're watching.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what you want? You want people to watch.
Yeah, and you can tell a difference when the 205 matches are on Raw or on the pay-per-view last night. The audience is more invested in them the last few weeks than they used to be before. You can tell a difference in audience reaction. So something about this is registering.
Yeah, something's clicking, something's working.
Yeah.
So, but that does bring us to a 10-man tag team match.
It's here.
Feel the pain that I try to contain. My heart is black.
Marc's got that slow.
Hey, yo,
that slow,
break,
low.
smash, with bass. I
Yes.
Nice.
So it's Kalisto, Cedric Alexander, Rich Swann. Is it Metalik?
Grand Metalik.
Grand Metalik. Yeah. I like his moves. And Mustafa Ali versus Enzo, Gulak, Nice, Dar, and Davari. So wow. Okay. Talk about high flying. That one dive that Rich Swann did, where it seems like he completely missed who he was going at.
High risk.
Yeah,
For a reason.
it was like a synchronized dance. Watching these athletes
Lucha.
do their thing. It was just like I was like, I need popcorn. It was like that for me. And then I love that Kalisto ended up winning with the Salida del Sol. He needed to. That needed to happen.
Yeah.
Him versus Enzo.
He's got to look strong for his rematch.
So
Get some momentum.
How did y'all feel about the
It's
10-man tag team?
10-man tags are just a flurry of motion. And it was good to see Grand Metalik back. I think Grand Metalik is one of the... He's got a real unique style. He's very lucha libre. Which, that being said, he's got to tone it down just a little. But he's got a fantastic center of gravity. He absolutely understands exactly where his body is positioned. He's able to pull off some incredible feats of agility, and he's actually probably one of the most underrated guys on the 205 roster. I think one of the things that hits him hardest is that he doesn't speak very often, and you need somebody who can talk to really push stories forward, and because he can't, that's the thing. But overall, this was incredible, and then the brawl on the outside was, I guess it sort of had to happen. Just both teams just taking each other out, so that it was nobody but Swann and Enzo. And I forget who was in the middle, but it was Enzo not wanting to make the tag and get beat up. He was doing everything he could to avoid confrontation because he knows what he's good at, knows what he's not good at, and he's not good at the fighting part.
No,
he's good at the talking part, at the fighting part. But it ended up coming around, and he got it. He got it all.
Oh.
So it's
judiciously got it all.
Interesting to see the rematch tonight, especially the way the belt has been bouncing around from champion to champion. Like, you really have to pay attention to this belt, because you don't know who's going to be going home with it next.
There you go. I actually don't mind that so much. When the belt becomes too much of a coveted item, it doesn't feel like it's really going to change hands, and then it kind of loses its glitz and glamour for me. While if it's, at least close, then... I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I like to see somebody else be Universal Champ, for instance. I like it that, Brock is a cannibal, and I very much enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see that on somebody else. For instance.
Jinder Mahal?
Well, no, because Raw has to win.
Well, it's not a winner-take-all type of situation.
So Raw has to win. So
I don't know.
look
I
at
don't think
what
there's gonna
show
be a
that we're on.
Yeah,
Raw has to win. I'm going to stick by Raw
wins.
wins.
A winner. I just have that feeling like they're
no one
would allow them.
I think Natalya might win over Alexa, but we'll see.
If it's Alexa, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to beat down everybody on the SmackDown AfterBuzz after show tomorrow?
Be, cracking my knuckles and looking at giving them mad dogging. I'm gonna mad dog Christian the entire time.
Sit on
it's gonna be great.
Just sit on the couch when you're there.
I'm
be
looking
away
forward to
from them and be near the door. You don't know.
Yeah. So after that last bout, we have our last in-ring segment.
Yeah.
And it's Kurt Angle.
In-ring, out of the ring, everywhere.
Everywhere. And, basically can't wait for Survivor Series. He's about to tell us who the Raw's men team will be going to Survivor Series. But then Shane McMahon's music hits. Oh, he's back. Okay. He was in the backstage segment. Now, here he is coming out to the ring. He's not alone. There are a ton of SmackDown stars with him. All of them wearing, the SmackDown colors, SmackDown shirt. And, we have New Day. There was Becky Lynch, Rusev. I loved Rusev. Zack Ryder. A lot.
It was everybody. It was nearly everyone. Even Shinsuke was there.
Yeah.
And I don't think Shinsuke would normally care at all about this, but he was there.
He was there. And apparently, Shane says that Raw is... Well, they're under siege.
Under siege.
They're under...
Like the Steven Seagal movie from 1990.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
I wonder if he said it, and Angle's reaction was so well timed. I think there's like an under siege clause in their contract. Like he invoked the under siege clause.
Under siege.
You're only able to do it once, but it's all out war and mayhem just at one time. You press the under siege button, and then it's all chaos.
And there it was.
Yeah.
It was all under siege. So, yeah, Angle leaves the ring, and Shane sets his, the Hounds of Injustice loose
Nice.
upon Raw. And yeah, so SmackDown Live storms into Raw's backstage, and basically anybody and everybody they find gets a taste of. They're throwing hands, throwing feet, throwing everything at everybody that comes around, including the women of SmackDown going up against the women of Raw.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And parading Kurt Angle around like he was some sort of puppet king,
That was so weird.
and just like leading him around to
When
show
they-
we have your GM.
was
We've
so
captured
weird.
your flag.
He's like one of the toughest WWE superstars of all time. Just wrestled in this epic match last night. For some reason, just a guy on each arm was enough to
He
completely
really-
paralyze
He barely
him.
got out of that match alive. He got carried to the back
Well,
at
that's
one
true.
point during that match. He's just lucky to be here without a broken frickin' neck,
Oh,
and he's
man.
not trying to push it.
He definitely was not trying to push it.
He's getting led around. Just,
They've got me.
hey, we
Right.
captured your president. Oh God, oh God.
It was like he was 95 years old. That
Man,
was so bizarre.
it was something else. I mean, everybody got a taste of SmackDown. I mean, Ambrose and Rollins, they got it really bad.
Yeah.
And so basically, when Kurt is led back to the ring, back to Shane McMahon, and Shane McMahon says, bring your Raw roster to Survivor Series so that we can finish what we just started. And it's true. It's damn true. That's the way that Raw ends.
The whole thing was really entertaining. I was very sports entertained the
Yeah.
entire time. It felt like a video game. Like the whole thing felt like a segment from
Yeah.
the new, from the new
Well, no, it's
2K18
from the old
game.
video games. It's from SmackDown versus Raw.
Yeah, right.
PlayStation.
So I liked all that part of it. I mean, I really enjoyed watching it and thought it was a lot of fun. I wish there were more. So that's the stuff I liked about it. The stuff that didn't click as much for me is I wish there were some more stakes in this thing.
Right.
Why suddenly, does SmackDown care this much about beating up the Raw guys that they stage this invasion just because they have a pay-per-view coming up that has no specific consequences to it? I wish they could. I don't know what it would be, but if they had some stakes on the pay-per-view itself, I don't know what it would be though. I don't have a good idea for it. But like if if whatever brand wins the most matches or whatever at Survivor Series wins something, they win the last 10 slots in the Royal Rumble, they win the main event at WrestleMania, they win something that gets you to understand what would motivate these guys to do this. So it feels a little forced, even though it was a
like
blast.
that.
Well,
It
it's
feels a
the
little forced.
first time we've seen this. So it could be that stakes eventually surface, but it's still pretty early in the game. They just came in and ransacked the house. Now we have time for Raw to retaliate, and we'll see what happens. It's something to see. There's a lot of implications for the future and the future of possibly the company and the rosters. We'll just have to see.
I know.
It was a newsworthy ending to the show, though, for sure.
was.
And last night was was a really newsworthy show as well, for different reasons. Meningitis, but these last two nights there's been a lot going on these last 2 nights in WWE and a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. This caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
It was a happy surprise.
Yeah.
I'm on board with this. This was great.
Yeah.
I wonder if Raw's going to try to do
I'd have
Under
to
Siege with
imagine.
SmackDown.
I'd have to imagine.
I hope they do.
They gotta do
I will be
something.
sitting right there, just like
Yeah. Or what else could they
On
do? They
SmackDown
could
Live.
Die Hard them. What are other action
Something,
movies from the 80s? And
There's so many of
Fire
things.
down below.
they could
All
fire
Steven
down
Seagal
below them.
movies.
Yes.
Man, but backdraft.
Sure. They could backdraft
something
them.
like that.
They could backdraft them.
I go, we go, you go, we go. Yeah.
They could Mighty Ducks them.
Mighty Ducks them.
Sure.
Something like that.
Sure.
They could kindergarten cop them.
Yeah, there's so many. All right. Well, you know, that brings us to the end of Raw. So, Marc Warzecha, I know that you have something that you'd love to tell our people out there.
Tonight is my last show as a permanent Raw AfterBuzz host. I hope I'll still be sitting in every now and then on this show, and I've always every now and then said it on SmackDown. When folks have to miss, I could pop in, but I am an independent contractor, a real independent contractor, not the WWE kind.
Yeah.
I work for lots of different people and places.
Yeah, you got that hustle on.
Yeah, I'm trying. And this Mondays are going to be tough for me for a little while. I'd have to miss more than I'd have to be here. So I think it's better that I step away for a bit. But I will miss it so much. I have a blast with you guys every week. And, you know, one of the things that I've really enjoyed is getting to know a lot of the listeners of the show on chat and on Twitter, and meeting some of the listeners in person at shows. That's been really great. So I want to thank you guys and thank AfterBuzz, and also thank all the listeners, because they've been so awesome to interact with. And hopefully I'll still be around, but not every week. Not every week. So, but thank you guys. It's been so much fun.
Yeah.
We'll miss you.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
miss
you.
Good addition, for
Thank
sure.
you.
And we'll love to have you on whenever we can have you. But since you won't be here all the time, why don't you let our listeners know exactly where they can find you?
Thanks.
Put yourself over.
Yeah,
Marc.
yeah. Well, all my social media is at Marc Warzecha, at MarcWarzecha, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. But I post all my stuff on Twitter, so check me out on there.
All right. And Hobo, where can the folks find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at True Hobo. I just uploaded a match today from Brian Kendrick's Pro Wrestling from this past Thursday. A silly little match with a man named Sexy Chino. Check that out. YouTube.com/SoapboxCarTV.
Yeah. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Markeia McCarty. It's MarkeiaMcCarty. And as far as wrestling is concerned, you will be able to find me tomorrow. I will be on SmackDown Live with Christian Rosenberg. I will be just
beating them down.
I'm going to have to. I'm going to wear red. I'm going to do Under Siege for the studio for then. But then I also do Marvel movie news on Popcorn Talk, and that will be Tuesday afternoon. So join us then at 2. Coy and I are going to be talking everything Marvel related, including Thor Ragnarok reviews that are out now. Oh. So yeah, otherwise than that, we make sure to follow Johnny Quasto at jquasto, and we will see you next week, same time, same studio, same place.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.